Chapter 4 is on infant to early childhood cognitive development. And this chapter looks at different theories of cognitive development, starting off with Piaget's stage theory. So Piaget said that children understand the world with schemas, or these ideas or mental representations of events, objects, and things. When they are presented with new information or new object, they have to assimilate or accommodate this new information into the schemas that they already have, and so that they can feel a balance again. Alright, so Piaget said that we go through these different stages of cognitive development. The sentence that I use to remember it is smart people cook fish for Piaget. First stage is sensorimotor. Second, preoperative, concrete, formal. So in the sensorimotor, this is infancy. Infants are learning about the world and they're developing schemas through their senses and their motor abilities. So putting things in their mouth, touching things, really using their senses and getting into stuff, crawling around, getting into stuff and touching things. So they are creating schemas of what a rattle is, what a block is, and so on, with their senses and their motor abilities. A limitation of sensorimotor is that little ones do not have object permanence until around 18 months. When they can't see something, they think that it is really gone. That's why they get so excited about the whole peekaboo game. So I recommend definitely watch this sensorimotor development video as well as object permanence video so you can see how to test it. Alright, now about 18 months, little ones start to use a lot more language. They start talking a lot more, which this signals a move more towards preoperative thinking. When they can use language and when they can use symbols, it's moving on to preoperative thinking. So preoperative is preschoolers. When you see preoperative, look at all the different P words. Okay, so preoperative thinking is about age 2 to about, say, 7 years old. So here's the P word, preschoolers who like to pretend, like they use symbols, talking. It's all about their personal perspective, meaning that they're kind of egocentric. They see things from their point of view. And they use perception, not logic. So it's all about appearance being reality. So they can't conserve or reverse. So watch the video here that will explain it a bit more about this whole can't conserve. So they can pretend, they can use language, but some limitations is that they're egocentric. It's based on their perception, not logic. So appearance is reality. Video will show some of the things they don't understand. They can't reverse. So if you cut a cookie in half, they think they now have 2 cookies rather than 1 cookie split in half. So they are not quite logical at this time. It's more about perception. So definitely watch these videos here that will explain it. They have a hard time with causation, so sometimes they don't understand what the causal relationship is. They experience transduction, which is a tendency to link experiences, whether or not they are logically linked as a causal relationship. Like if a child is fighting a night before the parents announce that they're getting a divorce, they may think that they're bad kids. That they think that is the reason for the parents' divorce. My son, when he was little, we used to watch Cops, and in Cops, a lot of times, the guys on the show weren't wearing shirts, and so they would be getting arrested, and my son noticed that all these people getting arrested weren't wearing a shirt, so he ended up thinking that if he doesn't wear a shirt outside that he would get arrested. So I remember one day he was going outside to play, he's like, oh, I need to put a shirt on so I don't get arrested. So that was transduction. He's linking these two things together, but they're not really logically linked together. It's not a causal relationship. He would not have been arrested for not wearing a shirt. It just happened to be that he saw a lot of cops at that time that showed people being arrested for a whole bunch of other things, but not for not having a shirt. So different criticisms of Piaget's theory is that Piaget tended to underestimate the cognitive competence of young children. His theory is also vague about how people change. He had the steps, but is kind of vague in how really this goes about. And Piaget's theory undervalues the influence of sociocultural environments. It doesn't take into account differences in culture. All right, another theory of cognitive development is information processing. This one is not a stage theory. It is it says that cognitive development happens more smoothly. We are like a computer. We're processing information. Our mental development involves changes in our mental hardware and software. So let's see. As we get older, we tend to be able to pay attention more to things that require our additional cognitive processing. Little babies have a hard time being able to focus on what they should pay attention to and what they shouldn't. As kids get older in school, they start being able to focus a little bit more. One way to test out later intelligence is through the use of habituation, which it refers to how quick a baby gets bored. Now, if a parent doesn't understand that this actually predicts a higher future IQ, maybe they might get frustrated that their little one gets bored so quickly and looks at one toy and then throws it to the side and then wants something else. Actually, when a child gets bored very quickly is a predictor of higher future intelligence. Kind of interesting. Visual preference. Babies tend to prefer to look at faces and new things. Let's see what else. What is some other stuff underneath information processing? Okay, so learning, the ways that we learn. We learn through classical conditioning and operant conditioning, as well as observational learning. So we've talked about this before. The classical conditioning is the pairing of a neutral stimulus with a response. So Pavlov did some work in this. Pavlov got the dog learned to salivate to the sound of a bell, so through association. Little Albert, so Watson did the experiments with little Albert, which the baby learned to fear a white rat after it was paired with a loud noise many times. So classical conditioning is all about learning through association. Operant conditioning, I always look at the rant word here, and I think about how my mom would go off on huge rants whenever I would get in trouble about how I disappointed her, things like that. So a rant is all about punishment, so operant conditioning, every time I see that I think, oh yeah, it's about rewards and punishments. Okay, so we learn through rewards and punishments. Skinner did a lot of experiments with animals, and the animals learned certain behaviors depending on if they got a reward or a punishment for doing it. So the way I remember Skinner is that skin the rat as a punishment. All right, and remember Pavlov back here. Here, Pavy. Here, Pavy. That's the way I remember it. It'll help you remember the dog experiment. And Watson, I think, what? You're not going to do that to my son, about how Watson got that little baby, little Albert, scared of that white rat. So different ways to remember these names. All right, and another way of learning is through imitation or observational learning. Bandura did a study with the Bobo doll, and the kids that saw the adults beating on this blow-up Bobo doll, and it looked like they were having fun, then went in there and also did that, started beating on the doll as well. So I recommend watching the videos here. This is a cute video about a child learning how to get his parents to laugh and parents' attention and everything. It's really cute. All right, memory. Our working and long-term memory improves as we get older. When we go from older infants to adults, kiddos can process more information at a time, as well as remember things for a longer period of time. When we are little, we don't tend for the first like 3 years, we don't tend to remember much of anything. We have this autobiographical memory or infantile amnesia for the first 3 years. And there are different theories as to why, but a lot of it having to do with we lack the language to be able to talk about things that have happened, or be able to kind of put those ideas into our mind. All right, preschoolers as eyewitnesses. Children can be easily swayed by questioning suggestions. If anybody has seen The Making of a Murder, and the nephew there that had an intelligence of I forget what it was, but of a younger child, and how he was easily swayed by questioning and suggestions. So you need to take that into consideration when preschoolers are brought in as eyewitnesses. All right, other information processing stuff. Little ones can count to 20 by age 5. So learning a lot of different stuff when they get in kindergarten. Let's go on and look at Vygotsky's theory. So Vygotsky, and there's a video to watch here, said that we learn through social interactions. Piaget said that we learn through manipulating the world through our senses and motor abilities and things of that sort. Vygotsky said social interactions are really important. We need children advance when they collaborate or when they work with other people. Scaffolding refers to a teaching style in which teachers let children take on more of a task as they master these different components. So Vygotsky really stressed social interaction as part of our learning process. Vygotsky said that little ones use private speech, kind of talking to themselves, as a way to help them figure things out. Check out this video of this child on the toilet. It's cute. This little boy is talking to himself, and Vygotsky would say that, yeah, he's using this private speech to help him figure out what he should maybe and should not do in the future. Last part of this chapter I want to touch on is language. Make sure you watch this video. So how do we learn language? Chomsky said that we have this language acquisition device. We have this inborn ability to pick up on the rules of language. So we pick up on these rules through our social interaction. That was language acquisition device. So there appears to be a sensitive period for language development. We are able to learn a first, second sign language earlier on, and it gets harder especially after teen years. The process of language development for infants is that they start off with cooing, so vowel sounds, then babbling, so throwing in some consonants there, so da 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 da, then saying words like hi, bye, and then holophrases or holophrases around 12 months, where they say one word to mean a whole sentence, like saying juice, meaning that they want juice. Telegraphic is being able to speak in sentences, but they're not putting in every little word in there, only the essentials. So mommy go work, and then talking is talking in complete sentences. The way that I remember that is through can babies with heavy teeth talk? All right, and that'll help you to remember the first letter of each of these. Around 18 months, little ones go through this vocabulary spur or naming explosion, and they learn about 9 new words a day. Huge language explosion there. Errors of early speech. Little ones tend to underextend words, so maybe when they hear mommy, they might get mad when another kid is saying mommy because they think that the word mommy only means their mommy. Overextending, generalizing a word to other objects. I guess when I was little, I called all meat chicken. I would use the word chicken to mean all meat. That's overextending the meaning of chicken. Overregularize, so apply rules without exemptions. I'd go to the store. All right. Pragmatics, the little ones have a hard time with pragmatics, and they might say inappropriate things. They haven't learned what is okay and what is not. So they might say somebody is, oh, look at mommy, that person is fat. You know, they don't understand the rules yet. Ways that you can help little ones to learn language is through joint attention, working with an adult and a child and talking about the same thing, and expansion, so elaborating, saying more, asking questions, and so on. All right, socioeconomic status has an impact on language. The more educated, the more money a parent tends to make, the more words and more variety of words they say and also expose their child to. Alright, and then social speech, watch this video that shows little ones using language to be able to get their point across to somebody else.